Okay, here we are. This is lesson 9 of how to draw a Cadillac ELR, and this is the final episode for this car. I'm going to do the wheel and also go around and do the final cleanup at the same time. Usually I'll let it sit for a day after I do the last part of the car and then try to come back and take a fresh look at it. But this one is mostly done anyway, so I just thought I'd combine the two steps into one. Normally I would have, like I said, done this in 10 instead of 9, but this will work out just fine. As you can see, what I'm doing here is representing the dark and light areas of the wheel, and I'm not getting too close on it. I just want to make it kind of impressionistic that is a wheel and let everybody figure it out. If I go ahead and do too much detail on it, it'll suck away from everything else on the rest of the car. So I don't really want to pull the reader's eyes away for too long a time. But there are some places on the car that are too light compared to the dark areas, so I'm going to bring those down just a little bit, and in that way it'll make it look a little more realistic, not quite so far out. So that's what I'm doing, is taking some of those really highlighted areas back in the back down just a little bit in tonal value so that it doesn't detract too much from the rest of the car. And the area I'm working there, just above that scalloped in area, that was just a little bit darker in the photograph, so I'm doing the same thing. And here, just above the crease on the passenger side door, same thing. I'm cutting that down a little bit. And in a minute, I'm going to go inside. The interior has a line that's kind of light on the dashboard as well as on the windshield post. That was on the photograph, but I don't really like it how it came out in the drawing, so I'm going to tone that down. And also, some of the trim pieces on the very rear of the car are too light also. If they don't kind of disappear a little bit, then it's going to make everything look the same color. So I'm going to tone those down as well and make them just barely a suggestion that they're there. And that way it'll bring everybody's attention to them in a kind of a roundabout way. But this is how it works. I always try to work one area against another one, and if you get too dark in one area, you really lose out. So you have to be kind of careful. You don't want to go too far with your black ink. If you get too dark, then you can't do anything to bring it back again. So it's far more important to kind of sneak up on the values that you want. I mean, there are certain areas like underneath the wheel wells here where there is no light that comes in there at all, so it's going to be totally black, and that's okay. But everywhere else, you have to be very, very careful that you don't go too far. Less is definitely more when you go ahead and do stippling with a black pen only, not using colors. And of course, on this one, I did put colors in it for the lenses of the lights. But normally, what I'm saying is the body of the car, if you're going to go ahead and do it in black ink, then you only have black, so you have to be very careful with tonal values and don't get too far ahead of yourself and make things too dark and then make a really dark, boring drawing. So you want to leave some things for people's imagination, and you also want to see some things that they can discover on their own, and those will make a better selling job of the car in the long run. Anyway, coming down to it, I'm very happy with the way this car came out. It was a nice photograph, a little confusing on some of the elements, but I took some of those out and just did the car itself and then the shadow underneath it. So I made it a little less complicated than it was in the original drawing, or original photograph rather, for my drawing. So I think it works out a lot better. Anyway, getting down to it, we're about half a minute away from finishing up here, but this is a very happy car. I really like it, and I hope you do too. Anyway, come on back tomorrow and you can see what it is that we're going to do for the next drawing. I will tell you that it's going to be an older car because I alternate between old cars and new cars, and this one's a new one, so the one's going to be older. See you then.